Welcome back to the Stronger Than Steel podcast. My name is John Kier, and joining me again for the day two recap of the NFL draft is Austin Davidson.
Heyo.
Alrighty, so it was an interesting second round for the Steelers, shocking just about everybody and taking a wide receiver in John Juju Smith-Schuster from the University of Southern California. The last first-round receiver from USC was Lynn Swann, a Hall of Famer in the 1970s. Austin, what were your thoughts on this pick at receiver?
I was not happy at first. I mean, it's grown on me. It made more sense because, in all honesty, he was probably the best guy on the board. The Steelers said earlier in the week at their press conference that they won't rule out a guy just because they need another position. They will take what is best on the board and whatever will help them win. And I was at work, if anyone couldn't see Twitter, so I didn't get to see what was going on Twitter. We're going to talk about this later, but two of the Steelers wide receivers got into a little skirmish on Twitter, I'll call it. And so this seems like a really good pick now after seeing that happen. What do you think of them drafting a wide receiver in the second?
Well, first, I just want to say that, yes, you were at work and I was doing work for my radio station at school. So we apologize for not being able to bring the same coverage on Twitter that we were able to bring yesterday. Hoping for a little bit better. What time does the draft start tomorrow, Austin? Do you know?
12 p.m.
Okay. Should be a little better shape tomorrow, but in any case, just wanted to apologize for that first. And so back to the Smith-Schuster pick. I didn't like the pick at first. I was also pretty confused because, like everyone was saying at the time, we weren't expecting a receiver. But after seeing what happened with Bryant and Coates and realized it was also a little confusing to see that he hadn't really been linked to the Steelers at all before the draft, kind of like the same way that Artie Burns was last year. But Smith-Schuster is an interesting selection. He just adds more depth to this position, and the Steelers have right now a pretty stacked wide receiver position. And I don't know too much about his specifics yet. I see that he's 6'1", 215 pounds. That's definitely pretty exciting. It's possible he could be the guy across from Brown that we always wanted Bryant and Coates to be. Time will tell as far as that goes. We'll have more in-depth coverage of what he is. But as time went on, I've grown to like the pick a little more, and I'm sure I'll like it a little more tomorrow too. But the big story after this pick was Martavis Bryant, who I don't remember the exact quote, Austin, but essentially he tweeted in response to the pick of Juju Smith-Schuster that this guy was being drafted to be Sammy Coates' replacement, not his, which is really something interesting to be saying about your teammate. And it's another thing completely when the head coach of the team tags both of you in the next tweet, telling the boys to quote-unquote play nice here. So that was definitely a shots fired type of situation. What did you think of all that?
Oh, my God. It was ridiculous. And now it is, of course, one of the biggest stories of the draft. It has been portrayed quite a few times, and it's been already referenced. I was just watching NFL Live, and they were like, what's his face? They were showing people welcoming other people. Like Jeremy Hill had a tweet welcoming, what's his name, Joe Mixon. And Latavius Murray had a tweet welcoming Dalvin Cook. And then she was like, yeah, these guys didn't Martavis Bryant it. And I was like, oh, this is fantastic, fun media. But, yeah, just bad. I don't understand why. I will bring it back a little bit because I will say I roasted Coates way more than he has. He said it once, but they're teammates. There's like I feel like there's a difference. It's like if I sat down and was just like, I hate my podcaster with me right now. Like you just don't say it. It's like that. It's just a bad thing to do. Like with a buddy, a friend, someone like you're gonna be with. It's bad for the whole organization. Just make them look bad. What do you think?
What could Bryant have possibly had to benefit by tweeting that? Like I want to know what went through his head that could have made him think, "Oh, this is a good idea. Let me tweet this." You know? I just this guy is so stupid. Like I don't understand the thought process behind this at all. This is a guy who, first of all, the fact that he was suspended for a whole season because of pot is just ridiculous enough already. You have to fail so many drug tests just for that to happen. It's insanity. And you know what? He just got reinstated. It hasn't even been a week, and he's already back in the spotlight for doing something idiotic. I'm so sick of this guy. I honestly wouldn't care that much if we just cut ties with him. I know that's not going to happen, but I'm so fed up with his garbage right now, and it's really unnecessary. Even if even like, there were reports saying that they thought he was kidding or something like that, but that's not something you kid about. Or even if you do, it's not smart to do something like that either. I just think it's a complete mess, and him tweeting that alone is enough reason to suspect the opposite of what his tweet is saying, that Smith-Schuster could actually be Bryant's replacement, especially when he's doing something as stupid as that. It's unbelievable that he's already back in the spotlight for doing something stupid again. But I'm sure I'll cool off a little bit, but I was so mad to see something stupid like that when I was driving home from the game today. So that's all I have to say as far as spouting off on that. But that was the main bit of news between the Steelers' second round pick and third round picks. The Steelers' first third round pick, at pick 94 overall, was Cameron Sutton, the cornerback from Tennessee. And Austin, you and I both agree he kind of fell to the Steelers, and kind of something that was kind of lucky because the Steelers were kind of running out of options in the second round as far as who they were going to draft a cornerback, perhaps leading to the selection of Smith-Schuster. But they kind of got lucky in getting someone like Cameron Sutton, don't you think?
Yeah, Cameron Sutton had been projected very early in most drafts, late first, early second, mostly early second. But for him to fall to late third was kind of like a gem for the Steelers because he probably shouldn't have been there. He has a versatility that he brings because he's also a punt returner and kick returner, along with being a cornerback. And the Steelers need all of those positions, all three of them. So he is really a gem for the third round, I thought. I was pretty happy with the pick. I mean, I had a little part of me that wanted Cordray Tankersley, but, I'm actually happy with Cameron Sutton. I'm sure Ramon Foster, Tennessee alumni, is also very happy with that pick. What do you think of Cameron Sutton?
Well, he fits the need, and that's what I'm all about with this draft, is about filling the need at certain positions, and that cornerback is definitely a need that could have used some bolstering, and I like that he's something a little bit different than what the Steelers usually get. He does have kind of a small frame at this point, which I imagine he'll end up getting more muscle at times, but he's more of a pure cover cornerback, a good player in man coverage, something that the Steelers don't really have besides Artie Burns, a guy who can just match up one-on-one. And yeah, he's not great in run support right now, but I think that's something that in time could be improved. So I'm happy to see that the Steelers went outside of what their usual prototypical cornerback is and got someone who's more of a responsible coverage guy, which I think is going to help pay dividends in the long run. Maybe not right away at the beginning of the season, but I think he's someone that can work his way into the lineup as the season progresses. So I like the pick a lot too. So I think that was a pretty good pick. The Steelers' next and final pick of day 2, a compensatory pick, was running back James Conner, a very popular selection for Steelers fans because, well, his hometown is in Erie, Pennsylvania, just a couple of hours north of Pittsburgh, and he went to the University of Pittsburgh and had quite a storied career there, setting a school rushing record in a bowl game his freshman year. Also interesting to note, he played defense in that bowl game while setting a record for rushing yards. He followed that up by being the ACC Player of the Year as a sophomore, rushing for I think over 1,600 yards and something like 26 touchdowns. And then, as everyone who has heard of Conner already knows, he was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma after tearing his MCL in the opening game of his junior season, rebounded from those injuries, and ended up beating cancer before returning with another 1,000-yard season his junior year and adding 16 more touchdowns. Connor is definitely a player with a lot of heart, but I think at the same time you could also make the argument that there were other positions that the Steelers could have gone after first, and that Connor was probably picked a little bit earlier than originally thought. But in any case, I know the fans are going to be happy, and you know that Connor's going to contribute a lot as far as determination and good work ethic, don't you think, Austin?
Yes. I'm still a little broken up about where he was taken. Like, I agree with you. Like, this is a great pick. I like the hometown, keeping him here. But I feel like this could have been done later. And nothing against him. I actually think this is probably, I'll put it this way. I think this was a smart business decision. I think this, because no doubt in my head, he's going to probably have the highest selling jersey out of any rookie NFL player there is. One of the highest, at least top 3. So good business decision to go make sure he's there. But I really think this was not a position that needed to be addressed here. I think there's more that could have been touched. I feel like running back was not very important, especially with Niall Davis being on the team, which now I guess with the addition of Cameron Sutton and James Conner, his time in Pittsburgh might have only be a short one, but that's a story for another day. It's just I'm bittersweet about this because I like his story. I just think the Steelers could have waited one more round. I think he would have been there.
I actually agree with you in that sense. I think the Steelers, I'm glad the Steelers got him because if the Steelers were going to get a running back, he's the guy I would have wanted. But I also think they could have waited another round or maybe 2. But I don't know, maybe I just remember the guy running the ball so well for Pittsburgh. But another important thing to remember is that the Pittsburgh Steelers have not drafted a player from the University of Pittsburgh since 2000. So it's not like they do this very often either. And the other thing to note is that they've seen him just about every day since they share the same practice facility. So they probably know a lot more about him than any of us do. So it's important to remember that too. Yes, I would have liked to see the Steelers get some more positions addressed, namely inside linebacker. For one, and probably tight end on the offensive side of the ball. But, excuse me, there's still time in the rest of the draft to get that done. And yes, they probably won't find as many talented players, but I think they also could have done a lot worse. I think Connor will be a contributor, and I think he's an underrated receiver out of the backfield. I do think that last year he still wasn't completely recovered from his MCL injury. He just looked a little bit slow, but I think he can get back the same explosiveness that he had in the past. Then the Steelers are going to have a real weapon at running back. But all in all, I guess, we didn't do this yesterday, Austin, but I'd like to do both yesterday and today. Can you give me a grade for day 1 of the draft and day 2?
Yeah, sure. I'm going to give the first day an A. I was very happy with TJ Watt. Of course, we both had him on our mock draft, and it was really good, all things aside, even though I was a little bit sad yesterday. Today, I'm more of a B minus. I'm kind of a bit sad about today. I won't lie. Wide receiver first was a little disappointing. As it got better, if you asked me as soon as the wide receiver got drafted, I was thinking C. And then coupled with the fact that we got a running back in the 4th before anything else, where there were several other things that could have been addressed, this was a little bit less of a good day for me. B minus. What are your grades for yesterday and today?
Day 1, I'll go A minus. Actually, no, I'll go an A. I wanted to be like, I wish I could have gotten someone a little better than TJ Watt, but no, who are we kidding? I love TJ Watt, and the Steelers couldn't have gotten Takk McKinley, so I was very happy with what they got. I'm actually going to give the Steelers a C+ for today. I love the pick of Cameron Sutton at cornerback. I think that's a great pick. It addresses a need. This today loses points with me today because I feel like they got a receiver too early, and they got a running back and well, actually, let me back up. They got a receiver when they didn't need to in this draft. I mean, maybe where there's smoke, there's fire with the whole Bryant and Coates situation. So maybe this receiver pick will turn out to be a blessing in disguise. Time will tell. But for right now, I feel like the receiver position was something that didn't need to be addressed in round 2, maybe round 5 or something like that. And then I think drafting Connor around early knocks the grade down from a B minus to a C plus for me. Like I said, I love Sutton. I think they could have done a couple other things better with their first and last pick of the day, but all in all, it wasn't horrible either. They're getting players that are going to contribute, and that's really the important thing when it all comes down to it. As much as I'd love for the Steelers to have a perfect draft by filling all their needs with guys who could play right away, but that isn't the case. But I'm still happy with I will be happy with what they have, and they can all contribute right away. So that is the big thing. So going forward into the last day of the draft, different start time instead of 8 p.m. or 7 p.m. It's going to be at 12 p.m. like you were saying, Austin. Rounds 4 through 7, the Steelers have 4 more picks, 1 in each round. Where do you think the Steelers go from here?
I think they definitely grab a quarterback. I don't know which one, but Dobbs is left, Peterman is left, and Steelers had massive interest in both of those quarterbacks. So it's going to be interesting. And, of course, I'm kind of rooting for Kaya, but now I wanted Kaya in the 4th, but now a quarterback is now falling down to more of a 5th-round need for me since we addressed running back so early. I kind of want to do something else in the 4th round, but I wouldn't be mad if a quarterback was taken there because it was where I originally wanted one. The whole taking the running back really screwed everything up for me. But then besides that, I would like to see them double dip an edge rusher probably. Then tight end is probably a big need, and then finally, this is in no order by the way. After giving quarterback, I'm just kind of listing the positions of need that I could think of. Then after that, it's free for anything. We could go a guard with Ramon Foster probably being in his last year. We could go another cornerback for just fun purposes, see if he gets a job. But that would put a lot of cornerbacks on the roster.
You could go safety.
That would probably mean that. What?
You could go safety.
We could go safety. Get Monte Nicholson maybe. Yeah. Actually, that sounds probably a good thing. Safety. So how about you? What do you think? What position do we address with the last 4 picks?
Well, I'm gonna go as far as what I would like to see the Steelers do, and I'm gonna break this down into tiers. The top tier for me right now is inside linebacker and tight end. I really was thinking the Steelers were going to get an inside linebacker within the first couple of picks. Kendall Beckwith, as you mentioned earlier, was the last pick of today, and I thought he and the inside linebacker position was something the Steelers were going to look at instead of a running back. I'm still really concerned about the depth at this position, considering a Vince Williams or Ryan Shazier injury means L.J. Fort and Steven Johnson becomes a starter. So I think that has to be and will be addressed in the 4th or 5th round. I'd like to see this. I would love to see the Steelers get Jake Butt in the 4th round. I don't know how if he's going to last that long, considering projections had him going in the 2nd to 3rd round. So he's already probably he's already been projected to have been taken. So I'd be shocked if he lasts to the end of the 4th round. But if he does, I'd love to pick him up. The second tier, I'd probably go safety and edge rusher again. It'd be nice to get another edge rusher, even if they can't be the kind of guy that T.J. Watt is. Maybe they're the next Arthur Moats kind of guy. That'd be pretty cool. Maybe we could get the future Shamarko Thomas, the good backup safety, in the 5th or 6th round. And then beyond that, I personally don't care or think I think the Steelers are going to get a quarterback. I don't think they need to in this draft. If they do, I don't know. I really don't think it's going to be Ben Roethlisberger's replacement. I think it's going to be the guy who ends up being Landry Jones' replacement, and I don't think that's really something they need to do in the draft, at least not this year. They already have Jones and Mettenberger, so I mean, I don't know. I guess that's just my thoughts, but it's certainly interesting. And these rounds are always harder to predict because you don't really know the names as well, and then teams just kind of make the picks faster and don't really put as much thought into it. So it's hard to believe that the draft. I feel like we spent so much time on the draft, and here it is. It's almost over. I will also say that I was kind of surprised Sidney Jones went as early as he did, but I think Philadelphia got a pretty good player in Jones, don't you think?
Oh yeah, that is severely disappointing, and it makes me really sad just thinking about it. He's on the other side of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, but I think we're all set today, Austin. If you're good to go.
I just got one more question for you. Is there anyone left on the board that you'd want the Steelers to take?
Outside of Jake Butt, I don't think so. The other thing that sucks is because I wasn't around the draft today. I don't really know the guys who are still around.
I gotcha.
So I know Peterman and Kaya. Is it Kaye? How do you say his name?
I was saying Kaya.
Kaya. I know they're the best remaining quarterbacks, so that's possible. Bucky Hodges and Jake Butt are the two tight ends I would like. George Kittle is also another tight end I looked at. I wouldn't mind picking him either. Other edge rushers. I'm not really seeing anybody. I mean, there's Ewan Price from Pittsburgh, but I don't think the Steelers are going to be getting another player from Pittsburgh. I was happy to see the Steelers didn't end up picking Zachary Cunningham from Vanderbilt. I know you and I were both pretty concerned about him. He went just, I think, a few picks before Pittsburgh did. He's tall, but he's kind of he's not as strong as you'd want him to be. I'd like to see the Steelers take Carl Lawson, obviously, but I think he will be long gone. But that's I think that's about it for me. Just looking over the by position here. Desmond King. Wow, I thought he'd be gone too, but time will tell, and we'll keep you updated tomorrow, obviously, as well. What about you, Austin?
I'm really just kind of looking at Carl Lawson. I kind of see him, and I'm wondering how far he's actually going to fall. Because no one would have ever expected him to fall outside of the third round. He was being projected early on into the first, and then his stock kind of dropped, but he was still in the second. So this is really kind of weird to see him fall this far and still be up there. People are thinking that his medical issues are worse than they appear, and then football teams knew that, but the information wasn't released. So we'll just have to see. But yeah, I think that's really it for this podcast.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? Oh, to everybody's surprise, a kicker or punter and long snapper have not been selected yet. I know that's a shocker. Feels like one team always ends up picking one sometime in the fourth round anyway, so maybe we're a little early, but time will tell. If you're all set today, Austin, I think I'm good to wrap things up.
I'm good too.
Alrighty, well, if you have any questions about the show or about our draft coverage, email us at strongerthansteelpodcast@gmail.com. Want to follow us on Twitter, check out some Steelers news and our quick thoughts on the NFL draft and who the Steelers have been picking. Follow us at Stronger_Steel. Check us out on Facebook, at Stronger Than Steel Podcast. And don't forget, we post our episodes on SoundCloud and YouTube. We'll be back tomorrow for a day 3 recap. And we'll have a full draft day recap sometime within the next few days. Also important to keep in mind that at this time of the year, we're wrapping up our college semesters too. So it's a busy time for us as well. So please be patient with that too. We thank you for your patience as well. And thank you again for joining us today, Steeler Nation. We hope you enjoyed the picks the Steelers got in Juju, Smith-Schuster, Cameron Sutton, and James Conner. And we'll be looking forward to day 3 of the NFL draft tomorrow. Good night, Steeler Nation, and good night, Austin.